What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how to flip the time intensity curve on its head to become prolific with your time? Well, I got good news for you. I've put together a special report showing you how to do this. It's normally $45, but since you're a loyal listener of the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time.
You're listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you want to step into your greatness, you've come to the right place. Here is your host, the human strength expert, Kyle Newell.
What's up, everybody? It's Kyle from Unlocking Your Inner Strength and Newell Strength, once again with episode number 84 of the Unlocking Your Inner Strength podcast. So last week we were talking a lot about hormones, and I tried to simplify it for you. Well, for those of you that are checking in live, though, quickly, you can kind of see the background of my shed, or the roof, I should say. I'm in the shed today, recording this. You can see my breath. Got the fire going behind me. It's still quite cold out here, but it'll be that time once again very soon to be out here full time. Before we get into a continuation of the nervous system and hormones, we got to do our mindset piece. So for mindset, it's always difficult, right, starting out the week when you might have all these ideas and all these dreams, and another week goes by and you haven't taken action maybe on any of them. And the big thing that people get caught up with is they see the overnight success. They see these media stories and these people that seem to come out of nowhere. Here's a little secret for you. Every overnight success has taken at least 10 years to get to be an overnight success. You see the lag, meaning you see the after effect when you see these stories. The lead indicators, the lead effort, the lead process that goes into this, that goes into, creating your dreams, will take years and years and years, and that's your 10,000 hour rule. That's the 10,000 hour rule that I spoke of a couple weeks ago. It's a game of persistence and consistency. So let me put this thought in your head. When you have an egg and it sits there, let's say there's a chicken in there and it hatches, that's when everything becomes exciting. Oh, the chicken came out of nowhere. The chicken came out of nowhere. You're looking at that from an external point of view. If you look at it from the internal point of view, of the chicken, this whole time it was in there, it was organic, it was growing, it was day by day adding, different cells onto the body, and this process of just becoming. And then when it breaks through, that's all anybody sees. They don't see what went on in the inside, the stuff that made it its very, very thing, the chicken. So you have to keep that in mind. If you've ever seen the movie Conan the Barbarian, a classic with my role model, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's pushing that big flywheel in the beginning of the movie. Now, picture a flywheel, another way you can think of this as being 5,000 pounds, 2 feet thick, 30 feet in diameter, this huge thing. And at first, when you try to push it, nothing's going to happen. Then you try again, and eventually you move it a couple inches. And the first day goes by and maybe you got 6 revolutions. A lot of work for that. Then the next day you might have gotten 10 revolutions. Then 12 revolutions, and so on and so forth. And eventually the flywheel is spinning so fast and has gained so much momentum that you are still doing work, but momentum has taken over. That's how this 10,000 hour rule works. You need to get the thing moving. And which push of the flywheel is the one that put you over the top and made you great? None. It's not one of them that did it. It's not like it's the 10,000th push. They all meant something. Some had a bigger impact than others, but if you put it by itself, it didn't do anything. So keep that in mind. Now, getting back to the hormones, we talked about the HPA axis. Okay, your hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal gland. Okay, hypothalamus and pituitary are up in the brain. The amygdala part of your brain, the lizard part of your brain, is always scanning. It's always looking to see where the threats are coming from. And when it picks up on the danger and the threat, remember that your brain is built for survival. It sends those messages, those hormone-releasing hormones, down to the adrenal gland or wherever they have to go. And it will release things like adrenaline, noradrenaline, epinephrine, however you want to term it. Depends on where you live in the world. Cortisol, all these things into the bloodstream. And that's the trigger to boom, move, fight, go into flight, whatever it is. Now, with mind map, the whole premise is that your brain and your nervous system directly dictate everything that happens with your body because they're going to dictate what goes on hormonally. When you look at your body and the way it functions and the body composition, it really comes down to your internal biochemical and hormonal environment. Your internal biochemical and hormonal environment. What's going on the inside? So food will affect that. Your stress levels will affect that. Drugs affect that. Alcohol affects it. All this stuff affects the internal environment of the body. So kind of branching a little bit off of hormones, I want to talk to you about the two sides of the autonomic nervous system today and make it as interesting as I can in the next 6 or so minutes. So take notes. You have this sympathetic, which I've talked about plenty of times. It doesn't mean feeling sorry for yourself. The sympathetic nervous system is survival. That is freeze, okay, in order of how we would respond in survival situations. Freeze, so think of the bear that's coming after you, and you just pass out, not even intentionally, or you play dead if you didn't pass out. Your body's brilliant when it passes out in situations like that based on survival needs. But you have freeze, you have flight. If you can run away from the threat, run away, get away. Don't stand there and fight. Or if you have to, you fight. That's your sympathetic nervous system. That's what you're tapping into when you're working out. That's what you're tapping into when you are overly stressed. Doesn't matter what type of stress it is. It's hitting you psychologically. It doesn't matter if it's relational, financial, career. Doesn't make a difference. But your workout is a stress. You have to remember that. The parasympathetic nervous system is rest, digest, recover. Rest, digest, recover. That's the flip side. Most people just have their foot on the gas pedal all the time, meaning they're go, 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 go. They're always sympathetic. What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how to flip the time intensity curve on its head to become prolific with your time? Well, I got good news for you. I've put together a special report showing you how to do this. It's normally $45, but since you're a loyal listener of the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time. I had a conversation recently with a client/mentor talking about his body weight. As long as I've known him, he's fluctuated a little bit with his body weight, but it's been pretty much the same, but he kind of obsesses on it. Now, we all do have our set point, meaning we have a set point of weight and body fat that we're not really going to go too far out of, particularly on the lower end. Again, it's a survival thing. But I was explaining to him this energy, what I was really talking about was the state of your nervous system. If you stress all this stuff, you're going to hold on to it. You're gonna find it almost impossible to get what you want. When you're stressed, you are in survival mode. You can't thrive in that state. I did all those bodybuilding shows way back when, and a more recent one or two I did in 2014. But I always went at them from a stressed point of view. I mean, I was training twice a day, cardio when I needed it, starving myself, 1,600 calories. And then I would, even when I wasn't getting ready for a show, I would still follow a very strict regimen. And I never quite had the body that I thought with, based on the effort I was putting in. And then I let it go. Meaning I kind of just said, I did a lot of work, learned mind mapping and really, kind of took stock of my life and realized it didn't matter what I looked like. Let it go. And then the funny thing is my body is kind of transformed into what I always thought it would look like with what I do with it on a daily basis. That has to do with my meditation, my relaxed state of being now, just letting go of that type of stuff. So your parasympathetic nervous system is where you have to be predominantly to get the body and the health that you want. So you see all these people killed it in the gym, crushed it, killed it. That's fine. Most of the time they didn't, because that's all that's all relative. But even if you're going to kill your workout or crush it or whatever you want to put these little hashtags on, you have to chill the rest of the day. Now, I know you have to work and you have things to do, but how do you stay in a calm state? Getting what you want out of your body is about being more parasympathetic, almost being parasympathetic dominant. Parasympathetic is anabolic. When we're parasympathetic in that part of our nervous system, that's an anabolic state. Now, most people think when they're sympathetic, when they're aggressive, when they're hitting the weights, that's anabolic. That's not. That's catabolic. It actually breaks you down. And this can go psychologically as well as physically. And it ties back into the hormones I was talking about before. So parasympathetic is anabolic. Now, if the body is anabolic, it means it's building up. Building up. That means it could be building up muscle. It could be using fat the way it should be used. Now, most people just want to diet hard, diet hard. I just had somebody send me a message from the other side of the world, a client, and he always wants to diet so hard, 1,600 calories, 1,500 calories. He's getting ready for his wedding. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's a stressor on the body itself when you diet like that. So being parasympathetic, rest, digest, recover, a couple things go with that. Meditation, I'm adamant that everybody should be doing some type of meditation every day. I've upped mine to 25 minutes a day, actually starting today. I've been building it up. Did that this morning after my short workout. And felt great clarity. Your biggest meal of the day, in my opinion, if we look at people's lifestyles, would be closer to bedtime. Now, people say, don't eat before bed, don't eat before bed. Your metabolism doesn't shut off. But if you look at the nervous system, rest and digest, so sleep and digestion, they go hand in hand. So a big meal before bed does the body good. And I found that out when I was competing back in the mid-2000s. When I would have my big meal, my carb meal before bed, it would help me sleep. Because you get so stressed getting ready for one of these shows that it would get hard. You get wired, and it's hard to sleep. Sympathetic is going to also release more blood sugar into the system. And the reason your body does this when it's in a fight or flight or survival mode is because it needs that quick burst of sugar to fight or to get away from this threat that's coming at it. Now, if you were sitting at a desk most of the day and you're just stressed about your career and your finances, but your body's responding, okay, and reacting the same way, you're releasing constant blood glucose into the body. That's going to affect insulin. That's going to help with fat storage. It's going to keep it so you don't tap into your body fat stores. So it's not what you eat as much as it is who you are when you eat it. It's not as much what you eat as it is who you are when you eat it. So if there's one thing I get across from you with your hormonal system, it's get parasympathetic as much as you can. Do your belly breathing. Do your belly breathing. That's the simplest way to get to that. Plan some personal care sessions. I went to the salt cave the other day. I might get a float in this Friday. Whatever it is you have to do, get parasympathetic. That's going to help you dominate your hormonal system the way it should be, as well as sleep. That's all I have for this episode. If you have not already done so, please leave a review on iTunes. That'll help me out. Spread the show. If somebody likes this type of stuff, share it with them, please. I try to keep them short so they're digestible. And I'll be back next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys, on Facebook. Appreciate it, Paul and Brandon. And I'll be back for another episode number 85, next week. Peace.
You've been listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you enjoyed the show, remember to subscribe, rate, and review us in iTunes.